Hey guys, welcome to another Homelab Series video. In today's video, we're going to actually be doing a Pihole server. If you don't know what Pihole is, essentially, you know how you kind of have all those ads on like your web pages that you go to and other things that you're like, oh my god, I don't want that ad, right? Pihole and a few other things kind of act like an ad block. Pihole actually originated from essentially Raspberry Pis, where you would buy like a Raspberry Pi, install Pihole because it was kind of a lightweight, easy thing that you could set up as a DNS kind of server proxy, and it would work out pretty well. But we're not going to actually install it on a Pihole today. We're actually going to install it on a server because they actually do have a Docker version of it too, so we're going to go down that route. But you could easily just install it on a Raspberry Pi and run it too. Now, the problem with that is it actually also acts as like a DNS server, so the problem with doing it on a Raspberry Pi is if your Raspberry Pi dies or isn't up all the time, it doesn't work out very well, right? But in this case, we're just going to install it as a Docker service, and we're going to have some fun. So this video is also sponsored by me, myself, and I. So if you do enjoy the content, want to send me some swag, send me some free hardware, you can just email me, and my email's in the description below. So, all right, let's get started, guys. All right, so we created our server already, so we can log into it. It's on 137, so let's log in. We'll actually also edit the DNS entry here, so let's make sure we add that in here. Web IDE and Pihole in. 192, 168, 137, and make sure you update the serial number. All right, we commit this. I didn't put a commit message, but that's totally fine. So we're actually going to install the Pihole version of Docker. So we can go here, we can show, hey, we'll just pretty much do the exact same that we've kind of been doing with like the last few services. There's a Docker compose file. We're going to use that to run it. We'll set up HTTPS on it, and then we will show kind of how it works. So kind of elaborating a little bit more on Pihole and how it kind of acts as more like of an ad blocker in a way, is essentially Pihole is set up such that you it blocks DNS queries of like known bad advertising sites. So essentially, if it can't query, you pretty much can't, it doesn't show up on the web page. So we'll actually go to, and actually I can go to it right now. There is a site called canyouBlockIt.com, and we will actually go to the web banners. So like you can see how in here there's a lot of ads, right? And a lot of the times you really don't kind of want to see this. So by the end of this video, we should hopefully not see any of these ads because Pihole will end up just blocking the DNS record. So it can't resolve, and if it can't resolve, it can't go to the page to actually pull up the web banner. So we got Pihole installing over here. So let's open up another terminal while that is installing the Docker stuff. And we will set up, we will actually install Docker Compose also, so we can skip to the next step here. Get Docker Compose installed. Download the package from the GitHub repository. Make it executable. Boop. And then we will need to make the Docker compose.yaml file. So with this, I kind of got the same copy off of the web page and kind of formatted it to the things that we'll need. So we'll essentially grab the Pihole container. We'll have 53 open on TCP and UDP. So that's essentially what the port that DNS uses. And then we'll forward the web GUI that is running on the container to 8080 so that we can use Nginx to proxy to 8080 to do it. Now you can see there's some environment variables. So by default, if you set the web password, then Pihole will use this and set it as the admin password. If you don't set it, it'll be randomly generated and you need to go do it. So in this case, I'm going to just type in randomly generated password as the password, but you should put in an actual password. And then you can see that there's extra volumes here that will mount directly onto your machine, so it holds like configurations and anything else that you'll need to do. So we will save this. We'll start Docker. we'll enable Docker. And we need to make sure we make those directories. So let's cat the Docker compose YAML one more time. Yep, so we need to make the etc Pihole directory so that it mounts that, and then make the etc DNS mask. etc DNS mask q.d. So now you can do Docker compose up. And this will actually pull the Pihole server. We can also now install Nginx. Install that real quick. Okay. So Docker PSA. Yep. So we can see that it's open on 53, and we have 80 pointed to 80. So what we need to also do now here is actually log into our CA server, ca.dragon.local, and create the Pihole certificate. So we'll make another directory called Pihole so we can store the certificates in here. And step ca create the certificate Pihole dragon.local Pihole.dragon.local.cert, and then Pihole.dragon.local.key. So this should generate, it needs the password, so we're going to go to our Vault Warden. And log in. Grab this. Paste. And we got the certs. Okay, so next thing we want to do here is copy those certs over. So copy these certs over to the server. Yep. There we go. And then we can log out of here. Now we got the server. We're going to actually use this one over here. So now we need to make the Nginx directory. So etc pki Nginx private. Then we'll have to, there should be the two things here. So Pihole, the cert, we'll just move it to etc pki Nginx. And, oh, move, not cd. And then move Pihole key over to the private. Nginx./private. Okay, now we need to edit the Nginx configuration, nginx.config. And we can actually make this slightly bigger too, a little bit easier to read. So go back down to the last page. We're going to uncomment the SSL section. Update the keys here. And cert. So Pihole.dragon.local.cert. And then Pihole.dragon.local.key. We'll update the location for the proxy pass. And this should be HTTP point to the localhost 8080 section. So now we can restart Nginx. And now we should actually be able to go to https pihole.dragon.local. Okay, this is expected because on a Pihole, it actually expects you to go to /admin and not the default location. So the password is that randomly generated password. I think that's what I said, yes. So we got the randomly generated password. Now you have Pihole. So Pihole essentially downloads all the domains for Atlas of which domains to block. So you can see that there's like 200,000 domains. In this case, we're not going to worry too much about what domains are blocked, but the idea here is essentially it should hopefully block the domains here, so we won't see it when we go to this page. So with this, there's a few ways to make Pi-hole your primary DNS. In this case, I'm just going to set my current Windows box to point to it. But if you want to set it for your whole domain or whole network, you need to actually do it on your firewall or router. And because everyone has so many different configurations for firewalls and routers, I'm not going to show that. But essentially, you would update that to point to your new DNS server. But in this case, we're going to just actually open our networking, change adapter options, go to properties, go to IPv4, and you can see how currently it's set to our current DNS server in this environment. So we're going to actually set it now to the actual DNS server. And this DNS server should actually be pointing to our other DNS, so essentially you should query that for things. So now that we set that as our primary DNS, I'm going to flush the DNS resolver on my local system, because if you don't flush it, DNS is usually cached for, it depends on what it is, but most of the time I find about an hour. So I don't want that web page to load back up with the cache. You also want to open this in an incognito tab, because this web page is also cached. So now we should be able to open it. And now as you see, there is no advertisement. So that shows that Pi-hole is actually blocking it now. And you can start seeing in here the query logs that there should be domains that are actually blocked. So you can see that those are Amazon ads. So it actually blocked the ZAN Amazon ads, and you now have successfully set up a Pi-hole. And this is very helpful to just kind of weed out some of the ads on pages that you really don't want ads. And you just point it to the server and everything resolves. So that is it for this video. If you liked the video, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.